why is it that everybody portrays angels having wings when they didn't actually have them in
Mm.
Genesis? Is there
Well,
something?
actually, the Bible tells us they do have wings.
Okay.
Um, but but again, we don't know. We just see the word wing, and in fact, we're given. There are different kinds of angels, but if you do look at let's take Isaiah chapter 6 as an example, or we take Ezekiel chapter 1, we actually very vividly told that they have wings, and different angels have as many as 6 wings, but they don't actually fly with all of them. They only use 2 of them to stand on, 2 to fly with. We don't know, in a sense, what this means, because they're not using the Bernoulli effect to fly.
Hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
so but we very clearly they have wings because for a different reason. And I can only take this with you as far as I can go in Scripture. In fact, there's enormous emphasis placed on their ability to go up and down in Scripture. There's a number of places for this. I alluded to one, but there's a ladder used there. But in
Right.
Isaiah, if you look carefully, Isaiah chapter 6, we see angels. There is enormous emphasis placed that the angels are actually able to move up. There's there's an enormous emphasis on Isaiah 6, incidentally, is the event of the earthquake during the time of uh, um, Uzziyahu or Azariah. It's the same person, different name. It tells us in the beginning of the chapter that he died. He didn't really die then, but he became a leper at that time. That text in Isaiah 6 corresponds with 2 Chronicles chapter 26. He brought the Ketoret, the incense, that it was forbidden. It created an enormous earthquake, and Isaiah's prophetic career begins then. There is a reason why Isaiah did not want that chapter to appear first in the book of Isaiah, although chronologically it belongs first. I'm not going to go into why right now. But what we see there in view, more than any other chapter in the Bible, that it was very important for angels to be able to fly and to go up. And in fact, you'll see there's this altitude model conveyed there where God is sitting on a throne. He has this long train, this long robe that goes all the way from heaven all the way down to earth. What does that mean? Is he really sitting on a throne? Did God need clothing because he came out of the shower? He needs a robe. The angels are flying above him. It's very important. What is happening here? So, so the Tanakh will always use the book. Tanakh is written for humans, not for angels.
Right.
So therefore, the book is always using language that enables us to best apprehend something that would otherwise be inaccessible. What happened at that moment, the reason why the wings are there, whatever that means, that the wings really needed for flight, of course not, but it's the anthropomorphic imagery, and that is that there's a heavenly temple and there's an earthly temple, and they're connected. They're kissing each other, they're touching on Mount Moriah. Okay, and it's very important that they comport with each other. Their voltage matches. If today most electronic instruments are multi-voltage, but in the old days they weren't. And if you plugged something made for 110 into a 220, you would just incinerate the engine because the voltage and the cycles were different. And that's what happened when Uzziyahu, a king, uh, who was a very good king, a great man, but he did a terrible thing at a very bad moment. He made a mistake. He brought the Ketoret, which is only a act only the priest can do. But he was filled with pride. 2 Chronicles, I told you, 26. What happened was because he changed the voltage, what happened was there was a disconnect between heaven and earth. It created an earthquake on earth. And what the angels are doing is they're moving up and down, repairing that connection. And that's why there's that moving up. And what is being conveyed in Isaiah 6 is that the temple above, which is holy, must remain holy as the temple below. They both have to comport with each other. And the holiness and the laws that govern these two temples have to have infinite have to have infinite holiness that can never change. And so there are three elements to it. Holy is above, holy below, and that holiness is forever. It is immutable. And that's why the angels are flying above. Look at the text, Isaiah 6. It's in yourself. In Jewish prayer book, this is the Kedusha. What's happening is the angels are flying above. They're flying above God's head. What does that mean? Well, now you know. There's this up and down because the angels are going holy above, holy below, holy forever, kadosh, kadosh, kadosh. So there are wings on certain angels that we are told about them in Scripture, but this is anthropomorphic language, and we can move on right now.
Sure. I mean, we have images that have been given in the articles of the temple too. You know, the cherubim with the wings as well. So,
Right. Right.
and referring back to the Genesis area where the men, it does say that they disguised themselves as men, not as angels. So
Right.
there's your explanation for them not having wings there, I guess, too, right? So, okay, good
Right.
deal.
I mean,
Yeah.
this was a test of Abraham.
Yeah.
If angels, the test was Abraham just been circumcised. He sees four people who he thought were travelers in a desert, thirsty and hungry. If he knew they were angels, then they didn't need to eat or drink. There
Sure.
would have been no test of Abraham. Abraham had just been circumcised at the end of Genesis 17. So therefore, it was very important for Abraham, with his eyes, all his senses, to assume that he was looking at very hungry people who he'd never met before. And this is one of the 10 tests of Abraham. That test would have been meaningless if they would have been angels.
Right. Right.
Okay?
Very
If
good.
he would apprehend them to be
Yeah,
angels.
sure.